Welcome back to TPS. Teams who play in a brutal division always have it tough. No matter how good they are, it's hard to win consistently when they have several other contenders to deal with inside their own division. And then, at the other end of the spectrum, you have those teams who have the benefit of playing in a laughably weak division. In any other division, they probably wouldn't have the same level of success. Here are 8 teams that are only good because they're in a weak division. At TPS, we post videos every single day, so don't forget to click the subscribe button to subscribe. Then click the notification bell to be notified when we post a new video. 8. Philadelphia Eagles. It feels weird putting the Eagles on this list since they won Super Bowl 52 not that long ago. That team won 13 regular season games and they finished in the top 5 in both scoring offense and scoring defense. But it also helps when you share a brutal NFC East division with the underachieving Dallas Cowboys, the laughingstock Washington football team, and the mediocre New York Giants. After winning their first Lombardi Trophy in franchise history, the Eagles proceeded to record back-to-back 9 and 7 seasons, good enough to reach the postseason both times. They even won the NFC East division in 2019 with that unimpressive record. Well, how nice was it that the Giants went 9 and 23 over those 2 years and that Washington went 10 and 22, and that the Cowboys won a mere 8 and 8 despite a plethora of talent in 2019. You really think the Eagles would have made the playoffs in a better division? Those 2018 and 19 squads wouldn't have a chance in, say, the NFC or AFC West. This isn't anything to take away from Doug Peterson, Carson Wentz, and the many other stars on Philly, but come on. The Eagles would not be a consistent playoff team if it weren't for their laughable division. 7. Dallas Cowboys. The Cowboys are never really that bad. They're usually in playoff contention with Dak Prescott and Ezekiel Elliott leading the way. They won the NFC East in 2014, 16, and 18, and America's team barely missed out on the postseason in 2017 and 19. But here's the thing, throw the Cowboys in just about any other division, and it would be quite disastrous for Big D. Geographically speaking, the Cowboys would be in the AFC or NFC South. Boy, oh boy, would they ever fare bad in the latter division. Or what if the Cowboys were even in one of the 2 West divisions? Again, it would be just downright ugly. This team can't even make the playoffs on a consistent basis with the Giants and Washington on their schedule twice a year. But because the division is so weak, the Cowboys are always going to be in the playoff hunt. And let's not forget that the Eagles were very mediocre when Dallas won the division in 2016 and 14. The good news for both the Cowboys and the Eagles is that the NFL has no plans to realign the divisions, so they can continue to enjoy life in football's worst division, which will keep them in playoff contention for many years to come. 6. Atlanta Braves. Following another early playoff exit in 2013, the Braves endured a 4-year rebuilding period, quickly piecing together one of baseball's elite farm systems. The future was more than bright for Atlanta entering the 2018 season. But to too many fans and pundits, the young core needed a little more time. Nope, the Braves arrived much sooner than expected and they snagged the NL East division with a 90 and 72 record. Good for Atlanta and all, but come on, that weak division did them so many favors. The Washington Nationals imploded and finished with an 82 and 80 record. Philadelphia Phillies endured a second half collapse and went 80 and 82. New York Mets continued to be the New York Mets, and the Miami Marlins endured their billionth straight rebuilding year, or whatever you want to call it. The Braves cruised to another division crown in 2019, improving their record to 97 and 65. Good thing the Marlins continued to be awful, and that the Mets and Phillies fell well short of expectations again. Although the Nationals claimed the wild card spot and eventually the World Series. We just don't think the Braves would fare as well in a different division. The NL Central has 3 annual contenders in the Chicago Cubs, St. Louis Cardinals, and Milwaukee Brewers. The NL West features the heavyweight Los Angeles Dodgers, up-and-coming San Diego Padres, and always dangerous Colorado Rockies. The AL East asks the Toronto Blue Jays and Baltimore Orioles how that's going. It sucks sharing a division with New York Yankees and Boston Red Sox and Tampa Bay Rays. Credit Atlanta for quickly piecing together a quality championship-caliber core, but they were able to arrive sooner than expected because of a weak division. Number 5, Toronto Maple Leafs. The NHL moved from 6 to 4 divisions beginning in the 2013-14 season. The Maple Leafs were a major beneficiary of the realignment. Why? Because with a barely above-average roster, front office mismanagement, and questionable head coaching hires, they've become a consistent playoff contender since drafting Austin Matthews first overall in 2016. The Maple Leafs are carried by 4 stars: Matthews, Mitch Marner, John Tavares, and Morgan Riley. But their forward depth is lackluster, the defense is a constant mess, and the goaltending, no matter the starter, has always been inconsistent. Luckily for the Maple Leafs, the Atlantic Division is very weak when you look past the two perennial powerhouses in the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Boston Bruins. Buffalo Sabres are the biggest laughingstocks in hockey these days. The Detroit Red Wings have entered a lengthy rebuilding phase. The Ottawa Senators have fallen apart because of incompetent owner Eugene Melnyk. And the Florida Panthers and Montreal Canadiens are caught in no man's land, seemingly too good to tank but too bad to contend for cups. Imagine if the Maple Leafs played in, say, the Metropolitan Division, which consists of the Penguins, Capitals, Flyers, Islanders, Blue Jackets, and Hurricanes. They wouldn't even be a popular pick to make the postseason. Between all those games against the easy division rivals in the NHL's format that automatically grants playoff spots to the top three teams in each division, it's no wonder the Leafs have reached the postseason in each of the last 4 years. The Leafs faithful have suffered more than any other hockey fan base in the past 50 years, having last won the Stanley Cup in 1967, but at the same time, the fans ought to be grateful that they play in a terrible division, or else they wouldn't even be getting a sniff of playoff hockey on a yearly basis for Miami Heat. 5 of the 6 NBA divisions feature at least one legitimate championship contender and one or a couple of consistent playoff teams who can win 50-plus games. The Southeast Division, however, is a different story. The division consists of 2 annual lottery teams in the Atlanta Hawks and Charlotte Hornets, a bottom feeder in the Washington Wizards, and an Orlando Magic group that's good enough to claim the 7th or 8th seed in the conference. But not much more. That has opened the door for the Miami Heat to reemerge as one of the top teams in the Eastern Conference. They needed just 44 wins against 29 losses to snag the Southeast Division crown in 2020, and 2 years before that it only took 44 wins to land the 6th seed in the Eastern Conference. Good thing Miami doesn't reside in the Atlantic Division, featuring the powerhouse Boston Celtics and Toronto Raptors. The Heat haven't been the same since LeBron left in 2014, but when your division has 3 lottery teams, it's easy to consistently book a trip to the playoffs. 3 Calgary Flames. The Flames continue to expose themselves as a team that's good enough to make the playoffs, but not good enough to win in the playoffs. After a while, you simply have to ask yourself if the team is only benefiting from a weak division. And in Calgary's case, the answer is clearly yes. This team punched postseason tickets in 2015, 17, 19, and 20, but they only got past the first round once in 2015. They were one and done every other year. The Pacific Division was once dominated by 3 California powerhouses, the Anaheim Ducks, Los Angeles Kings, and San Jose Sharks. Those 3 teams quickly fell apart and entered rebuilding phases. The provincial rival Edmonton Oilers have wasted Connor McDavid's prime years. The Vancouver Canucks only recently broke through after a painful rebuilding process. The Arizona Coyotes are one of the league's worst teams every year. Among all Pacific Division squads, only the Vegas Golden Knights can be considered a championship caliber team. But because the other division rivals have spent considerable time rebuilding, Calgary has managed to squeak into the postseason in 3 of the last 4 years. That's despite awful goaltending and 0 clutch play from stars such as Sean Monahan and Johnny Gaudreau. The fact Calgary can't even get past the first round simply shows how mediocre they are. They'd certainly be a lottery team in the Central or Metropolitan. Number 2, Cleveland Indians. After the Kansas City Royals won the 2015 World Series, the AL Central became a giant mess, and the path was cleared for Cleveland to take over. The low-budget Royals had to watch the core players from their championship team slowly depart one by one. The Detroit Tigers had no choice but to rebuild as their aging core began to decline from 2015 onward. The Chicago White Sox and Minnesota Twins spent the bulk of the 2010s rebuilding too, placing them among baseball's absolute worst teams during the decade. And so it was relatively easy for the small market Cleveland team to snag 3 straight division titles in 2016, 17, and 18. They fell just 1 game short of winning the 2016 World Series, losing a heartbreaker to the Cubs in extra innings of Game 7. Look, the likes of Francisco Lindor, Jose Ramirez, Corey Hoegler, Trevor Bauer, and Andrew Miller formed a strong core that nearly brought the World Series back to the land. But you have to attribute plenty of that success to a very weak division that consisted of 4 rebuilding clubs. Cleveland was eliminated in the 2017 and 18 ALDS. They just missed the playoffs in 2019 as the Twins snagged the AL Central with a 101-win season. So, this team has enjoyed one deep playoff run in arguably baseball's worst division. No way they'd be this good in the NL Central or AL East. It sure is nice residing in a division with 4 of baseball's worst teams over the past half a decade. And number 1, Texans. 9 wins. That's all it took for the Texans to win the AFC South in both the 2015 and 16 seasons. You know who their starting quarterbacks were in those 2 years? Brian Hoyer and Brock Osweiler, respectively. Luckily for the Texans, the Colts were busy wasting Andrew Luck's prime by forcing him to play behind a horrible offensive line. Also, luckily for the Texans, the Jacksonville Jaguars continue to be one of the football's worst teams. And also luckily for the Texans, the Tennessee Titans were stuck in mediocrity before Mike Vrabel arrived as head coach. Sure, the Texans won the AFC South in 2018, even though the Colts claimed a wild card spot and the Titans won 9 games. Sure, the Texans won the AFC South again in 2019, even though the Titans went all the way to the AFC Championship game. But the Texans get 2 easy wins a year against the Jaguars, and both the Colts and Titans were not exactly great football teams for the bulk of the past 5 or so years. Sure, the Texans have one of the league's best quarterbacks in Deshaun Watson. They also have a woeful offensive line, one of the league's worst defenses, and some very questionable coaching and management. The Texans rack up winning seasons and division titles because their division, more often than not, stinks. The Colts and Jaguars each had just one playoff berth from 2015 and 19. The Titans' 4 straight 9-win seasons from 2016 and 19 is just evidence of mediocrity, not greatness. Imagine if Houston had to fight with Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady, or Ben Roethlisberger and Lamar Jackson within their division. Good thing the Texans have had it so easy all this time. While other teams are only good because they're in a weak division, let us know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you're new here and you haven't subscribed yet, now's a great time to do that. Hitting that subscribe button down there. If you like the video and like the video, we'd really appreciate it. And last but not least, don't forget to tune in to TBS every single day for more cool videos. We'll see you next time.